Hey guys, Tom here. And we're going to go ahead and go on with another video that I think you guys may find really interesting if you haven't heard about him before. This particular person that we're going to be discussing in this video had a couple different titles or views that people had about him, and if you saw the title, you probably know who we're going to be talking about today. So we're going to discuss John Hendrix, who has been called the Prophet of Oak Ridge, and we're going to kind of go through some of the things that he did in his life, some of the things he's claimed, and kind of see what you guys think. So, with that being said, if you're new to the channel and you like this type of content, feel free to click that like and subscribe down below. Always helps the channel out. And hopefully you guys will enjoy the video and stick around to the end. So let's go ahead and get this going, shall we? So John Hendrix is one of the most indelible characters in the history of Oak Ridge here in Tennessee. He is considered a mystic by his neighbors. In rural Anderson County, Hendrix had a number of visions in the early 1900s that were seemingly proven to be accurate by future events. He's most famous for allegedly predicting the establishment of Oak Ridge and the Y12 plant more than 40 years before they ever existed. And with that, that's just kind of a snapshot to give you guys an idea of why they called him the Prophet of Oak Ridge. But we're going to kind of start with labeling out some of his early life and stuff like that. And then we're going to move into some of those other things that he had said and kind of what happened later on in life for him and everything. So we're going to kind of truck along, and hopefully you guys will stick around till the end. So John Hendrix was born on November 9th. Of 1865 in Anderson County, here in Tennessee. In his early 20s, Hendrix married Julia Ann Griffith of nearby Morgan County, with whom he had 4 children. The Hendrix family lived on a hill that was located above the present-day site of the Bull Run fossil plant in Claxton, Tennessee. Tragedy, however, struck when John's 2-year-old daughter Ethel died of diphtheria, which is a serious infection of the nose and the throat. Julia Ann's grief over the loss of her youngest daughter turned to anger at John, who she had blamed for Ethel's death. John had spanked Ethel before she became sick, which Julia believed that this punishment had somehow caused her illness. And around the turn of the century, Julia Ann left John and took the 3 remaining Hendrix children to Arkansas, where she later remarried. Because of the loss of his daughter and the departure of his family, John Hendrix started to get drawn into religion and mysticism and retreated to the woods for 40 days and nights to sleep on the ground and pray, believing that this act of faith would bring him divine revelations. He began to have visions that he shared with the community, but his powers were not appreciated by his neighbors. The local authorities assumed that he was insane and imprisoned him at the county farm, also known as the poorhouse. Hendrix, however, had escaped and declared that God would burn the farm down within a month, and as he had predicted, the building had caught fire after being struck by lightning. While some people were afraid that Hendrix was a witch, most community members were dismissive of his visions during his lifetime. His most startling vision predicted monumental changes to his hometown. As described in the Oak Ridge story by George O. Robinson, Hendrix made the following prophecy to an audience at the Crossroads General Store. And he said, quote, "I tell you, Bear Creek Valley someday will be filled with great buildings and factories. They will help towards winning the greatest war that will ever be. There will be a city on Black Oak Ridge, and the center of authority will be on a spot middle way between Sevier's Tadlock's farm and Joe Pyatt's place. A railroad spur will branch off the main L&N line, run down toward Robertsville, and then branch off and run toward Scarborough. Big engines will dig big ditches, and thousands of people will be running to and fro. They will be building things, and there will be great noise and confusion, and the earth will shake. I have seen it. It is coming." End quote. If this account is to be believed, Hendrix seemingly foresaw the establishment of Oak Ridge and his pivotal role in helping the Allies win World War II by developing the atomic bomb. Hendrix's specific predictions about the locations of the center of authority and certain railway lines were also proven accurate. After these moments, though, where he was sharing prophecies and different visions with his community, he had married his second wife, Martha Jane Gregory, in 1908, and a year later she gave birth to his son. Sadly, however, he would contract tuberculosis, which may have been related to the nights he spent sleeping on the cold ground. Hendrix's stepdaughter and her husband took care of him as his condition worsened, and he ultimately passed away on June 2nd, 1915, at the age of 49. Today, the visitors to the Secret City can learn about the prophet of Oak Ridge at the John Hendrix Memorial Prayer Walk. This easy half-mile nature trail tells the story of John Hendrix in a beautiful outdoor setting. Now, this is kind of an interesting read, I thought. And I'd never really heard of John Hendrix before. But he had an interesting story, an interesting life, and I'm going to go ahead and put the source link down in the description down below, so that way if you guys want to read more on him yourselves, you're able to do so. But if you're still here to the end, I appreciate it. If you have anything that I might have mispronounced or forgotten, feel free to let me know in the link or in the comments down below. And if you're not subscribed yet, I just ask you to kindly subscribe and leave a like on the video. And there'll be additional links down below if you want to support the channel in other means as well, but don't feel like you have to. It's not expected. It's there if you want to, though. But as always, enjoy life, take it a day at a time, and I'll see y'all next time.